You know, I made myself a promise for 2019 that I'm not gonna waste my precious time, but also yours, for a review of a simply crappy or just unrecommendable product. And I'm not gonna say that the Vivo Nex 2 is crappy, but it's simply unrecommendable, mostly due to two things. First of all, it's the price. At around 850, this is just way too much if you just look at the core hardware, which is mostly like maybe 400 to 500, because it's around somewhere in between a Xiaomi Mi 8 and maybe a OnePlus 660, but definitely not more. So you kind of pay like $300 extra just for the dual screen, and that implementation actually isn't worth definitely that much. Maybe it is for you, but I don't see the point at all. And then there is also this absolutely atrocious software that is so annoying, and since that alone, even if the price would fall out by 100 or 200, is just way too unrecommendable. I'm just gonna quickly go through my notes about things that I didn't notice in the preview, and then we can pretty much finish off this phone. Because there is one thing that I said a little bit wrong in my preview. I said there is no notification ID, and that's at least halfway true, because there is none on the front, but there is actually one quite obvious one on the back. Because here we can see once we charge it, for some reason you have to turn on and off the screen, and then you see this quite obvious thing. So you have some kind of notification, but especially this in the night is actually super annoying. But at least that's there. Then we also have the camera bump. I mean, I guess it had to be there, because otherwise I don't know why they would have put it in. It's just there. It obtrudes the screen a little bit, and I'm going into the odd use of that screen also a little bit later on. But if we, for example, want to tackle one thing more that I want to mention, it's those odd curves. Because and now I have to show the ones on the front, because these are my issue. Just look at those corners. This corner, or this rounded curve here, is not nearly the same as on the inside, which just looks odd. I mean, that's a minor thing, but why did this rounded thing, this corner, had to be so huge? I mean, it just looks a little bit odd. Other than that, the display, just like I said in my preview, it is very nice. It feels a little bit on the slightly contrast lacking side, but just ever so slightly. It's super clear though, very sharp, viewing angles are fine, brightness is fine, and the same goes for the one on the back as well. So in that regard, they did a really good job. Not 850 euro good, but still, speaker, like I said in my preview also as well, could be definitely louder, and it distorts just already way too early, which doesn't happen on the headphone jack, because that one has really good quality, but it could be louder as well. And there's actually also an hi-fi mode. About the performance, I'm not gonna waste much time, because I said in my preview, and just to correct that I see a little bit of minor stutter and lag, but on a extreme high level, actually that went away. So it's now on top with the very best ones. When it comes to battery life, I have to just tell you this: it's not as good as I expected. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I expected at least about 20% more. For some reason, the standby run was pretty bad. So the more you use it, the more you can get out of it. But if you use it a lot in your pocket, using standby drain, this was actually not that great. So let's get quickly into my annoyances when it comes to software, which is pretty much a deal breaker for me, besides obviously just the price. Because, for example, if we go into the developer options and you turn them on, you have this all the time, and you can hide it after a while. But this pretty much, for a phone that costs 850 euro and has to be imported, means this is kind of a geek phone. This is not for the normal consumer. And the non-normal consumer might maybe want to change the animation speed, might maybe want to change the DPI. And that simply, I mean, DPI for some reason actually sticks without it being on, but it isn't the same for the animation, so you have to live with slow ones and this super annoying animation. And if you once press it, it sometimes even changes that. Then, for example, also the outer edge notifications, sometimes they actually got cut off. Now it's okay, but in some situations they actually get a little bit cut off. Not a huge issue, but still. Then you need the Vivo account for pretty much anything, which is super annoying. You want to change the launcher, you need the Vivo account. You want to set some extra permissions, for example, if I want to do my back navigation. Oh, just to see now. And now if I want to allow it, which would be a thing of any Android phone where you can just say yes, here you need the account. Absolutely a no-go, because why would I need it? And actually I couldn't get myself done. I wanted to register and it always said to me that my phone number was wrong, whatever I tried, and after 5 minutes I gave up because that's just too annoying. Also translation, for example, now this is still German, but even the English one is so bad that some options are just so completely wrong translated that you have a hard time finding them. Then there is no double tap for a last app. As you can see here, you double tap and it just opens the recent apps. There is no double tap option to get to the last one, which is annoying. Then if you click a YouTube link from any other app, it doesn't open YouTube. It just opens the browser and then YouTube. that is stupid and you can't reassign it for some reason. Also, if you want to type something, the keyboard pops up like super slow. Sometimes it works because I just did it, but if it's kind of out of the RAM already, it takes like 3 or 4 seconds to actually just load the keyboard. Then YouTube just runs everywhere if you have it in the background. If you have YouTube Premium, for example, and you don't even see where the window is, so you have to get into Windows again. But there are at least a few upsides. Both displays can actually run separate apps. For example, here I have running Instagram, and then I switch to the other side and can launch Palabra, and then when I switch back to the other side, so you could use between 2 apps, obviously not at the same time. But that's kind of handy, and I already said if I press 2, then it kind of throws the app onto the other side. So the implementation of that work is not that bad, but like I said, that it's then the same ratio like on the front, and people ask me, can't you just change it? It's not possible. I don't think that Android can scale the app aspect ratio on the fly like it can maybe with some other things. But then we also have Smart Wake, which just turns on the screen by itself if you get a notification or if you raise it. That is pretty nice. We also have off-screen gestures. We can, for example, also set a long press for the volume rocker to turn on the light. Double tap to wake works, and there's also an easy touch floating button. So there are a few okay things on the software, but the downsides definitely overweigh because of the whole restrictions, and the RAM management is extreme. You have to pretty much allow any app to be started actually, just so that works. So way too heavily restricted, way too crippled by Vivo's account needs and all those kind of things, and some things just work oddly, and it's about as bad as it is on Oppo software. So it's pretty much the same crappy, absolutely unusable software. When it comes to the camera, it's the same thing. The bug didn't go away, which means whenever you want to use the selfie cam or the front part with the dual screen, the camera app still shows black instead of the actual picture. So I can't use this. This is the main thing about this phone. The camera app, that you can use it on the second screen, so you can shoot selfies with the main camera quality. And that feature, which is pretty much all it is about, doesn't even work. It works with third-party camera apps, but I'm not gonna judge it based on that. So I'm gonna quickly say what I think about the camera. Selfie camera, if it works with those features, is absolutely great. That would be kind of 5-star territory for video and for photos, so that's great. Low light qualities are okay. Main quality cameras are pretty good because they're, I would say, absolutely not on a flagship level, but not that far off. Main video is also fine, but that is still noticeably away from a flagship camera. And this for 850 euros, now explain this to me, this is just wrong. This just doesn't work. Because, like I said, 400, and if you like the Vivo software, yeah, because you get the kind of innovative thing. Because I have to give them at least that. At least they've tried. I mean, in my opinion, they colossally failed because of the way too high price and the software, which I kind of already knew from the beginning that I won't like it at all. But I also just wanted to review this phone because I knew this would be my pretty much only option to ever try a dual screen phone, because I don't think anyone besides also Nubia with the X will ever try that again. And people who told me Nubia X looks way more promising, yes, but no Play Store support and all those kind of things, that's just not usable. Therefore, so not really, unless you are maybe in China or somewhere else. So my standpoint, pretty nice phone, pretty overpriced, and pretty shitty software. All gives me an unrecommendable. That's that. Okay, until next time, bye. And still 9 minutes, but still shorter than usually. Okay.